Nines. I'm going to be now telling you a story about what happened on the day of Archduke Franz Ferdinand's assassination. He was killed by a man from Serbia, and I've written this as a story, but I just felt like it needed more explanation than what I can do for you in writing. So I am making this video because this is just the craziest story, and it led to the beginning of World War I, and you guys deserve to hear it being told dramatically because it is very dramatic. So let's begin. When Archduke Franz Ferdinand organised to visit the city of Sarajevo, he let his plans of driving down the main street in an open car, like this one, see how it's open, it doesn't have a roof? He let his plans be known to the locals. From these plans, a group of Serbians used this information to plan his assassination, which means they wanted to kill him. They wanted to kill him because he was a very powerful man and he was about to become in charge of all of Austria. And they wanted to be free from Austria and they wanted to fight and protest for their freedom. So the assassins lined up along the main street waiting for him. As he drove past, one of the assassins attacked and he threw a hand grenade at Ferdinand's car, only to watch as Ferdinand kept moving along the street because it took a little bit for the grenade to detonate. And so it detonated under the following car. It didn't kill anyone, it just injured a lot of people, okay, which is a pretty good outcome for a grenade, especially from someone who actually was intending to kill. So, but there was a big panic and the procession ended and Ferdinand waving in his open car, he was sped off and far away. So all the assassins, they lost their chance. But this specific assassin, the one who threw the grenade, he actually took a cyanide pill, attempting to poison himself. And then he jumped into a river because he obviously was very scared that he was going to get caught, and death would have been better than getting caught. But because the river was very shallow and the cyanide pill didn't actually work, they captured him very, very shortly. So this particular assassin did not do a very good job. He did not kill anyone. He did not throw the grenade at the right car and let it detonate under the right car. And he jumped into a river that was way too shallow to do him any damage. So he was captured, and the group of assassins, who were very young, they dispersed throughout the city and they knew that they had failed. They weren't going to kill Archduke Franz Ferdinand. So as a person, as Ferdinand, his life has just been attempted to be taken from him, but there were a bunch of people that got injured instead of him. And so he and his wife decided to visit the injured people in the hospital instead of going straight home. And on the way to the hospital, they actually turned into a street in their open car. They turned into a street, but it was the wrong street, and the driver had to stop. And because they were in an old car, they had to stop for a little while because cars were a lot harder than just going, vroom. So they stopped in front of a cafe and they were just waiting for the driver to organize the car so that they could go off to the hospital to visit the injured people. But little did they know that one of the customers from the cafe was Gavrilo Princip, and he was a Serbian man who was a part of that group who were trying to assassinate him the day before. And Gavrilo Princip stepped out of the cafe and he saw the Archduke and his wife, who were his targets from the day before, who he wanted to kill. And as you can imagine, being an assassin, he had a gun. So totally outside of the plan that they had made, this very careful plan, he pulled out his gun and he assassinated the Archduke and his wife. Now, please remember, the Archduke and his wife were actually very dearly loved. Just how, people get really excited about the royal family here, Prince Charles and William, and people loved this Archduke and his wife, Sophia. So it was a real tragedy, and Austria declaring war on Serbia, it was horrible. But as a person who lives 100 years later than this, I just cannot get over how much of a coincidence this is. That they were trying to assassinate this guy and they failed, and then just randomly one of the assassins saw him on the street and had a gun with him. It's crazy. And this Gavrilo Princip, this terrible man who assassinated the Archduke, he was 19 years old. Very young, very, very young to be making such a big decision. And That decision caused World War I.